my channel. So today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make the trousers that I showed you guys how to make the pattern for in my last video. So these trousers are for either an 11-inch to 17-inch bear or doll. So once you've made the pattern from my last video, you should have cut out 4 sets of the trouser pattern and then 1 of the waistband. So once you have got those cut out, we can start to construct the trousers. So let's go. Okay, so now you've got your pieces cut out, what you want to do is put the waistband to the side for a bit, and we are going to focus on the main trousers. So first of all, what you want to do is unpin your pattern from your fabric. Next, you're going to take the 4 sets and split them into 2. So now you should have 2 sets of 2 trouser pieces. So next, what you are going to do is you're going to pin and sew the side seams. So you're going to pin and sew along here and along here. So now you should have 2 sets of trouser legs with the side seams sewn up. So next, what you are going to do is you are going to do exactly the same as what you have just done, but for the inner leg seams. So now you will sew up the inner leg seams. So now that you have sewn up your inner leg seams as well, what you are going to do is take each leg at one time, and you are going to hem the leg opening of them. So what you are going to do, you're going to get this edge and just fold it under, and then you're going to stitch about halfway across this fold all around the leg opening to hem your trouser legs. So now you have hemmed your trouser legs, you can now sew up your crotch seam. So to do this, what you are going to do is you're going to take one leg and turn it right sides out. And then you are going to get the other leg and place the right side out leg inside the inside out leg, like so. Then you should end up with one leg looking piece because the legs are now inside each other. So now what you want to do is pin this seam. So you're going to pin one top edge together, then the crotch seam together, and then the other top seam together. And now, if you're making this for a doll, you're just going to sew continuously from the top edge through the crotch seam and back up to the other top edge. But if you're making making this for a bear, you should have 2 little notches where your tail or hole should be. So if you are making this for a bear, you are going to sew from the top edge to the first little notch, stop, and then from the second little notch, you're going to sew from there all the way up to the other top edge. So now that you have sewn that seam, what you can now do is pull the leg inside back out, and if you are making this for a bear, you can now hem the tail hole. And how we do that is we open out the back seam allowance around the tail hole and we pin it down. And then you're going to sew in kind of like a pointed oval shape around the tail hole in the seam allowance to hem the tail hole. So now you should have your nicely hemmed tail hole. So now that you've done that, you can put your trousers to the side for a minute and grab your waistband. So now you can unpin your waistband from your pattern. And then what you want to do is the open short end of your waistband, you want to sew this end up, leaving a little gap towards one side so that we can later thread elastic through it. So now that you have sewn that seam, leaving a little hole, what you want to do is open this seam out and slightly press it flat just with your fingers, that's all it needs to be. And then you want to fold your waistband in half, lengthways. So that you end up with a narrower waistband. You then want to press with the iron this edge to make it all flat and neat. So now that you have pressed your waistband so that it's all nice and flat and nice and neat, you now want to get your trousers back and pin your centre back on your waistband to the centre back of your trousers. You should now have your little opening on your waistband and the side of your trousers with the seam allowance on the outside. And then you want to pin the rest of your waistband to the top of your trousers. Then sew your waistband to your trousers. Okay, so now that you've done that, the next part is optional. It just depends on what you prefer, but I tend to like this. So now what you can do is sew a line across the top of your waistband, only a few millimetres from the edge of your waistband, just to give it some nice top stitching. So now what you want to do is grab some elastic and measure it against your doll or bear's waist and cut it to the size of their waist. You then want to grab a safety pin and put it through the end of your elastic, and then what you're going to do is through that little hole you left in your waistband, you're going to start threading your elastic through that hole until the elastic comes out the other side. You're then going to stitch the ends of your elastic together or tie it in a knot, and then finally you will stitch up that little hole. So now all that is left to do is to turn your trousers in the right way, and you should have a finished pair of doll or bear's trousers. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time. Bye.